Hi, and welcome to Experience Points by University XP. On Experience Points, we explore different ways we can learn from games. I'm your host, Dave Ang from Games-Based Learning by University XP. Find out more by going to universityxp.com. Let me ask you something. When you pick up a game, do you think about what's really happening? Beyond the screen, beyond the competition, games are interactive experiences that shape the way we engage with stories, spaces, and each other. Whether it's the fellowship of a D&D session, the tension of a competitive shooter, or the quiet solitude of an indie adventure, games influence us in ways we don't always realize. In today's episode, we're diving into how games function as mediums for interaction, as art, as social spaces, and as powerful tools for learning. We'll explore everything from virtual worlds to tabletop classics, and even some of the more unexpected ways games impact real life. Let's start off by talking about space. No, not outer space, but the space that games create. When you sit down to play, whether it's a board game on your kitchen table, a sprawling open-world RPG, or an augmented reality experience like Pokemon Go, you're stepping into a new environment, one with its own rules, boundaries, and possibilities. Games exist in different kinds of space: physical, digital, mental, and even cultural. Think about it for a moment. A soccer field has defined physical limits, just like a chessboard. A video game, on the other hand, creates virtual landscapes where distance and movement are dictated by the game's design. And then there are games that blur the line between both, like augmented reality experiences, where the digital world is overlaid onto the real one. But here's the key. When we enter a game, we transition into a different reality. Game designers call this the magic circle. This is a space where the rules of the outside world don't apply and new rules take over. So, why does this matter? Because understanding how games define space helps us see how they influence our interactions, our choices, and even how we perceive reality. Is gaming art? It's a debate that's been around for years, but let's break it down. When you think of art, you might picture paintings, films, or literature, mediums that tell stories, evoke emotions, and challenge perspectives. But games, they do all of that and more. Games are a hybrid art form, blending visual design, music, storytelling, and interactivity in ways no other medium can. Think about a game like Celeste, a game where the pixelated landscapes and emotional narrative work together to create a deep personal experience, or The Witcher 3, where the story isn't just told to you, it unfolds with you, all shaped by your choices. And then there's interactivity. Unlike movies or books, games make you the artist, choosing how to move, act, and engage with the world around you. It's not just about what the developers create, but what the player brings to the experience. So can games be art? Yes, they absolutely can. And in many ways, games push artistic expression further than other mediums. Every great story needs a setting where the action unfolds. In books and movies, that space is fixed. You follow the story as it's told. But in games, you don't just witness the story, you step into it. This is what makes narrative space in games so powerful. Whether it's the eerie, tension-filled halls of Resident Evil or the sprawling, choice-driven world of The Witcher 3, the story isn't just happening. It's happening with you. Your actions, decisions, and movements don't just shape the experience, they become part of the storytelling itself. Think about interactive storytelling games where every choice you make leads to a different outcome. Unlike books or movies where the narrative is linear, games give players agency. They become co-authors of their own journey, and that's the magic of narrative space in games. It's not just about where the story takes place, it's about how you interact with it. The world reacts, adapts, and evolves based on you. That's a level of immersion that no other medium can quite match. Now, let's talk about how games bring people together. Whether you're battling in an online multiplayer game, collaborating in a co-op adventure, or laughing over a board game with friends, many can interpret gaming as a highly social experience. And a lot of that comes down to theme. The way a game is designed, including its world, mechanics, and objectives, dictates how we interact with others. Take Call of Duty versus Animal Crossing. One fosters competition, strategy, and fast-paced action, while the other builds a laid-back cooperative community where players trade, visit islands, and help each other out. Then there are games like It Takes Two, designed from the ground up for cooperation, forcing players to communicate and rely on each other. Meanwhile, MMOs like World of Warcraft create entire digital societies, where friendships and even real-world relationships are formed. At their best, games break barriers, uniting people across cultures, time zones, and backgrounds. But as we'll see, not all social interactions in gaming are positive. Some communities thrive, while others struggle with toxicity. Much of gaming brings people together, but sometimes not in the best ways. While games can create incredible communities, they can also foster toxicity, harassment, and exclusion. Think back to the early days of Halo 2 and Xbox Live, a time when voice chat was unfiltered and online lobbies became battlegrounds for more than just gameplay. Fast forward to today, and we still see hate speech, cyberbullying, and toxic behavior in competitive games, forums, and even streaming platforms. But why does this happen? One factor is anonymity. When players feel hidden behind a screen, they sometimes act in ways they never would in real life. Another is competition. Some games encourage aggressive play, which can spill over into player interactions. And then there's gatekeeping, where certain communities exclude newcomers or different demographics. The good news? Developers and players are fighting back. With better moderation tools and positive community building, gaming spaces can be welcoming for everyone. But it starts with us, the players, to set the tone. So how do we create healthier gaming spaces? Games aren't just about fun, they're about learning. Every time you play, you are developing skills, making decisions, and engaging with systems that shape the way you think. But here's the interesting part. You're often learning without even realizing it. Think about puzzle games that teach problem solving, or strategy games that develop critical thinking. Even action-packed shooters require quick reflexes and decision-making under pressure. And then there are serious games, designed for education, therapy, or training, like simulations for pilots or medical students. But learning in games isn't just about mechanics, it's also social. Cooperative games teach teamwork, MMOs foster communication and leadership, and narrative-driven games like Celeste or Undertale can help players develop empathy and emotional intelligence. For some, games even serve as a safe space to practice social interaction, helping those with anxiety or neurodivergence build confidence. So what happens when we intentionally design games for learning? What role does gaming have in the future of education? Games are so much more than entertainment. They create spaces that pull us into new realities. They serve as artistic expressions. They tell interactive stories, and they connect us socially, for better or for worse. They can foster friendships, collaboration, and learning, but they also have challenges like toxicity and exclusion. At the end of the day, games are a reflection of us, our creativity, our struggles, and our interactions. They're powerful tools that can shape the way we think, communicate, and even learn. I hope you found this episode useful. If you'd like to learn more, then a great place to start is with my free course on gamification. You can sign up for it at universityxp.com/gamification. You can also get a full transcript of this episode, including links to references in the description or show notes. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'm your host, Dave Eng from Game-Based Learning by University XP. On Experience Points, we explore different ways we can learn from games. If you like this episode, please consider commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Subscribing is absolutely free and ensures that you'll get the next episode of Experience Points delivered directly to you. I'd also love it if you took some time to rate the show. I live to lift others with learning, so if you found this episode useful, consider sharing it with someone who could also benefit. Also, make sure to visit University XP online at universityxp.com. University XP is also on Twitter at university_XP and on Facebook and LinkedIn as University XP. Also, feel free to email me anytime. My email address is dave@universityxp.com. Game on.